Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Welcome to Monday night. Welcome to April. I know April started a few days ago, but we didn't have a chance to talk since then. So welcome to April. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality fans all over the world, and especially love you guys that are sitting out there doing the show with me every Monday night. Thank you. I'm always very appreciative. And as sometimes I mention, sometimes I forget. For those of you who aren't watching live, appreciate you that y'all as well. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. You'll find out whenever I do this show. It's typically Monday night. But when I do this show, when I drop episodes of Survivor and whatever other shows I may get around to doing as well. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. We'll talk. We got all kinds of stuff planned tonight, guys. But it's also kind of an open-ended deal. Anything y'all want to talk about, throw it to me on the comments, and we'll see what all we cover in the next hour. Man, I got to say, but we'll see who's out there. But before I even do that, it's hard. I was watching Big Brother Canada for an hour. And so, as soon as I get done with that, then I'm immediately jumping on trying to do this show. Juggling a lot of balls. There's a lot of things going on right here between the show and this show and all that. So, yeah, it's having fun on a Monday night. So who is that? Amanda, welcome aboard. You're the first one I see. And, we'll talk about that pick a little bit. Chris as well. Marilyn Sutherland. I'm doing pretty well, Marilyn. Thank you. Mark Taylor. Andy W. Y'all get a little more rain in Oregon than we do down here in Texas, except during hurricane season. Anthony Stike as well. Terry Thomas, XX Typhoid. Paula Scar, Brian Hostetler. All my friends are out here. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Jake, the horror movie geek. I like me some horror movies. Well, I'm in the right mood for them. Ma is angry. Well, Ma, welcome back to your own personal cell phone again. Glad to see you back as well. Cindy Heyer, Michelle Moore, Chris Lair, Kiki, Elisha, Star, and JP. All right, I hope I got y'all covered. If I missed someone, certainly not intentional. Now, I did want to go ahead and do the singing in the rain little deal. First of all, because I've told y'all before out here, we love musicals in our family. We watch them all the time. Singing in the Rain, Gene Kelly has got to be one of the ones that my family, whenever it's on TV, we always stop and we always watch it. And I for those of you who don't know, over at Disney World, it's actually MGM Studios. They've got a pole that you can stand up on the pole and pull a little handle, or at least they used to pull a handle, a little rain comes down. What a great way to embarrass your family, but by getting up on that pole and singing a little Singing in the Rain in front of everyone who happens to be walking by. So I've done that once or twice. My kids always try to avoid going by that. We haven't been to Disney in a while. I have time to go back one of these days, but yeah, I did that. But no, I did that because all kinds of rainstorms all day today. It's supposed to be kind of severe tonight, and then it'll get better for a couple of days. And we're supposed to get more for the last part of the week. So I figure, April showers bring May flowers and all of that. But here in Texas, we don't have to wait till May. We get the bluebonnets. And so that's what you're seeing the background behind here. Texas bluebonnets, our state flower. And I tell you what, right around this time of year, we drove up, I'll talk a little bit. We drove up to go to the lake over the weekend. There are bluebonnets everywhere. And what's funny is these things grow. They just look like carpets on the side of the road. And so everyone will drive to some big hill where they see all these bluebonnets on the side of the highway. They'll stop. They'll get out. They'll put their kids in the middle of the field. They'll take all kinds of pictures and selfies and things like that. So once bluebonnet season gets here, you see cars just lined up back and forth trying to chase down the best bluebonnet fields all across the state. So yeah, it's not my favorite time of year. My favorite time of year maybe is Big Brother season, right? But I like it. It feels like springtime now. Hey, I planted some loofahs in our backyard, so I'm doing a little gardening of my own. So yeah, I appreciate the rain. I don't have any problem with it, especially when I'm just staying in here talking to you guys anyway. It's funny, when I was in the Big Brother house season 19, we were there, 93 days plus a little time before and after for sequester and all that. Not a single time while I was in that house did it rain on us, or at least not while we were in the backyard. Now, there were days we were locked in and it may have rained and we wouldn't even have known about it. We had an earthquake. We actually had two while we were inside the house, but we didn't have any rain whatsoever. I got so tired of the same old weather every single day. Now, here I am complaining. Yeah, I spent 3.5 months laying out around the swimming pool with nice LA sunshine and all that. But it would have been nice to get a little rain every once in a while just to go out and stand underneath it and enjoy a little bit of change of pace. But now we didn't get any rain while we were there. But again, we're getting it here, and it's a start of the springtime, which is always a good time of the year. Oh, let's see what else is going on here. I had so much stuff thinking, man, what's all the reality TV and everyone else. So first of all, let's just talk about a couple of real cool. Well, first of all, let's talk about April Fool's Day. April Fool's was on Friday. Did any of y'all get burned? I'm curious. I'll look at the comments, see. Did any of y'all get burned by April Fool's jokes? People maybe. I woke up saying it's April Fool's. Don't believe anything you see. And yet I still got burned by one post on Twitter, Instagram. I think it's Instagram. Y'all know Hearts of Reality, right? Where all the celebrity reality TV type people go over to Orlando and we hang out, raise all kinds of money for Give Kids a World Village. Such a great charity. I love doing it. I hope I can do it again this year. I saw a posting of Hearts of Reality posting saying that they were welcoming this year, this December, to Hearts of Reality, that Julie Chen and Jeff Probst were both going to be attending Hearts of Reality this year. And I got to say, I got a little pumped up thinking, all right, I had my little 5 minutes talking to Julie, but it'd be fun to talk to her in a little bit more in-depth detail. And Jeff Probst, meeting him, the king of Survivor, would be phenomenal. So, yeah, I was already thinking, I definitely have to go this December, all excited about it. And then I realized after about 5 minutes that, no, they're not coming. It's just an April Fool's joke that got me. So there you go. Even though I knew it was coming, I still got burned by an April Fool's joke. Anthony's saying didn't get Friday, hid from everyone. It's kind of like St. Patrick's Day, right? Even if you're wearing green, I feel like there's people that go around try to pinch you just because they feel like pinching someone. How did that tradition start? Of all the traditions, I don't know, but yeah, Friday, April Fool's, better than April 13th, right? April Fool's Day, maybe better just to not answer the phone or read social media at all, but whatever. I always hear some people that play these elaborate pranks and everything, and I applaud the dedication some people have to doing more and more outrageous April Fool's jokes every single year. What a crazy holiday. All right, Chris, who do you think from Big Brother is going to be on the challenge? Well, it depends on which challenge you're talking about now, Chris. That's the hard part, right? Because you've got the challenge that's on MTV, but now you've got this Paramount Plus challenge, which apparently is taking people directly from, I guess, not MTV shows, but taking them from CBS reality shows, something like that. I don't even understand exactly, but that show, I don't even know if it's going to be named the challenge also. It may be. It's hard to keep track with, but there's another type of show, the challenge, and I understand that they are already down in Argentina, of all places, to compete. And at one point, I knew who was on there. I can't remember now. The person I remember, because I'm cheering for him, is David Alexander from my season. David's down there playing the game again. There's a lot of former other Big Brother people down there playing the game as well. Enzo's down there. It kind of gives me some time to think, because Enzo's a great guy. I love beating Enzo back in August up in Dallas-Fort Worth area and all that. But Enzo, he's not as old as me, but he's got a few years over a lot of the other house guests. He's down there competing in the challenge. Hey, if Enzo can do it, bring me on. I'll go hardcore on that thing, and put me on there as well. Enzo and I can compete against each other. Chris said also, who would would you go cast on a challenge, or who would you cast on a CBS challenge? I got to think about that a little bit, because there's we've had some good players. There's a lot of people on this new version from BB23. I think they're going to be on the show as well. Who would I cast? The challenge is such a physical show, but if it was up to me, I'd want to shake it up a little bit. I'd try to put some people on there that maybe you wouldn't expect. I don't know who would you never. I'll tell you someone I'd cast on one of those shows that I think would be a lot of fun. Rockstar. I think Rockstar. I don't know how she'd do, but I think she'd bring a lot of fun and drama to the show. She'd be interesting. Fessy already has done his stuff for so long. Tyler's never really done the challenge. I'd be curious to see how Tyler would do on a show like that. And then there's a lot of people, I've heard people saying, how about Jackson Mickey? He was such a comp beast on your show and all that. I gave him a hard time. I talked a lot while we were in the house about going on the challenge because I knew it made Holly so upset. And I was just trying to create some splits and divisions between them. So I talked about it a lot then, but I don't know if he'll ever go back on any CBS reality shows. Y'all know all that, but I don't know if he'll ever do reality TV again, but be curious to see how he would do from a purely competition type level, right? So yeah, that'd be fun. And Lawrence Santiago, let's get Chris Rock and Will Smith on a challenge. All right, yeah, that would be kind of that would be interesting. And put those two in a hall brawl again, going against each other. That could be fun. What else? Mark on here. What do you think of the game what do you think of the game of the current HOH? Are we talking about Big Brother Canada on here? Yeah. I've said before, I don't want to give too much. I just got through watching the episode, but I know a lot of y'all haven't watched it, so I'm going to lay off a little bit. There's 3 players that I've kind of mentioned it last week, I think, or at least the week before, who I'm kind of cheering for this season of Big Brother Canada. Marty and Herman and Kevin. And why those 3? Just because I feel like there's a little bit of me in every one of those 3. I'm not the equivalent of any one of those, but I can identify parts of each of those that kind of playing the game or are acting the way I'd play. So I don't know. Without going into details, but the current HOH and the gameplay, I don't know. You know what? It's I feel like sometimes people play the game a little too honest. I certainly think that sometimes people play the game a little too emotional. And I think the current HOH is probably guilty of both of those. Without throwing out any names, I think both of those are possibilities. Now let's talk about, since we're on Big Brother Canada, we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Did y'all watch? I'm sure some of y'all did, some of you didn't, and that's all right. I'll explain a little bit. Last Thursday, they didn't call it a double eviction, but basically it was a double eviction. But they booted the first person, just normal type deal. But then instead of a double eviction like you normally have, where you have a new HOH, a new power veto, and then you vote someone out, instead they just had one competition. Whoever won it did a chain. They called it a chain of safety, I think. And for those of you who watch Celebrity Big Brother, it's a little bit like when they had to pass that Mon hat from one person to the other. You have the hat, or in this case, you have the power of winning the first competition. You pass it to the next person. Whoever you pass it to gets safety. They hand it to the next person who gets safety, on and on and on, until in the case of Big Brother Canada, once there were 3 people left, they had to do a competition. Whoever won that was safe, which left 2 people on the block, and one of them got sent home. Now, I gotta say, I like these kind of competitions, and it kills me that we didn't have something like that during my season of Big Brother. Not necessarily pass the hat or exactly like this, but we didn't have any competitions during my season where you had to declare your loyalties. Even something as basic as, if you win a round against someone else, then you pick the next 2 people to go up to compete, and you do something like that. We didn't even have anything like that. And for me, trying so hard while I was in that house to split up that big alliance, to fracture that alliance in some form or the other, having a competition like that where people had to declare their loyalties. Who's my true number one? Who am I really watching out for versus who I'm just saying I'm watching out for? If we'd had something like that during my season, just so that the Nicks and the Bellas and the Sams and the Cats and some of the people who maybe thought they kind of had some inroads in there, just to see them recognize that maybe they weren't as tight as sometimes they thought they were. Having something like that, I think, would have led to that alliance getting broken up even sooner than it did. But we didn't get those kind of competitions, which was unfortunate. But I love this competition Thursday night up in Canada. It was a great competition. It was a lot of fun. There were people, Kevin, who has said he had final 2s with a couple of people, felt tight with a couple of people, had to make some declarations, decide who truly was loyal to. And it's always fun to watch people squirm just a little bit and have to make those decisions. Lawrence is saying BB Canada ratings are low and they're worried for next year. Yeah, I hate to hear that. And I don't know. I mean, why do you, the ratings are low, and they've been a little bit lower here in the States for a few seasons as well. And I don't know, is it just because we have so many streaming services now and so many different options to watch for, or is how much of it has to do with COVID? Big Brother Canada shut down for COVID and lost the season. They had last season, which was a full season, and now this one. I don't know. I've enjoyed it. I don't know what's involved in terms of marketing and everything else up there. But I've been trying to keep up. I still don't watch the live feeds as much as I'd like to because there's just not enough time. But keeping up the episodes, I thought it's been a good season so far. I thought casting did a fantastic job with the people they grabbed. But I don't know. I think most TV shows, the ratings are lower than they used to be across the board. So I don't know. I hope it sticks around for a while. I'd be fine if they wanted to refresh it a little bit. I've said before, I'll say again, how much fun would it be if Big Brother Canada, Big Brother USA just did a mega season? I don't know, start a little bit later than Canada starts, but a little bit earlier than the US starts, and put 10 Canadians, 10 Americans in a house together and create some reasons that they won't just work as a team versus a team or anything like that, and see what happens. Wouldn't that be fun? Now, I hope they give away more than 100,000 Canadian dollars if they want to do something like that. But maybe they need to combine it together. And there's some presidents for that already. Because I know over in Africa, they used to have every country would send just a couple of representatives, but it was Big Brother Africa. And so you had a lot of people from different countries all competing in a single house against each other. You could do that. For that matter, go ahead and throw a World Cup in 2026. It's the United States, it's Canada, and it's Mexico. All three countries hosting together as a unified group. Let's do the same thing with Big Brother. Let's get six Americans, 6 Mexicans, and 6 Canadians, and do just a big show, Big Brother house, North America Big Brother. That'd be fun. I'm in for it. I'd be watching. I guarantee you that. That'd be a lot of fun. Chris is saying, have you ever been called to do any more shows? And Paul is saying, have you put in applications for Survivor or any other show? To the first question, no, not really. But I've always said if someone calls me and they want me to come on, sure, I'll talk about it with the family and we'll decide with it. As far as putting in applications for Survivor and shows like that, not officially. I mean, just because I was on Big Brother, it means I know people who are involved with some Survivor and Amazing Race and some shows like that. And so, I've talked to a few people and said, hey, if you're looking for someone, keep me in mind. And I know there's people like Nicole and I have said, we need to try out for the show, but we just haven't gotten around to Amazing Race. We just haven't gotten around to, life goes on and people get busy doing different things. So as far as actually filming a video tape and sending it in, not so much. Hey, it may be fun to do. Would they watch my video and say, we've seen him on TV before, delete, and that'd be the end of it? Or would they say, well, send it on, let's see if someone's interested? I don't know. I'd love to do the shows. I've been asked before, what shows would you consider doing? Survivor? Yes. The Amazing Race? Yes. Big Brother again? Yes, of course. Naked and Afraid? Yeah, probably. Talking about embarrassing my family. Nothing embarrasses them better than watching old dad going out there naked in the African savannah and trying to eat bugs and lizards to survive. So, I'd do those and whatever else comes out. Put me on a challenge. I probably keel over and call in the medics after the first couple of weeks. I don't know. I think I'd hold my own, but I'd do that as well. Mark Taylor, is it true that Julie Chen is calling it a career? I saw a little bit of a rumor on that, but as far as I know, it's nothing but a rumor. I haven't seen anything official, and I got to think, if there was anything to it, there'd be all kinds of rumors of buzz, especially within the Big Brother circle and all of that. We'd all be talking a lot more about it. Is it an April Fool's joke? Could be. I think I saw a rumor or two that came out even before last Friday, but I still don't think there's anything to it. Now, that doesn't mean here in another few years that may change. I mean, I feel like Jeff Probst is going to do Survivor forever. Julie Chen, if I had to make a bet, I would probably say that Julie leaves before Jeff Probst does in terms of those two shows, but I think she's going to stick around for a while. I have no clue how much she gets paid, but my thinking is if I'm hosting a show, everyone talks about it, I'm getting paid probably some pretty decent revenue to come in there once a week and host and do something. I'd be okay with it. So I hope she sticks around for a while. If she doesn't, then we'll be all awash with all kinds of rumors about who would you want to bring in to take her place. But I don't think we're there yet. I think we got her for at least a few more years. I hope so. I like her. I like meeting her. It was fun. So I hope so. Michelle saying, do people take leave of absences to go on Big Brother? Well, I guess it depends on what you do for a living, Michelle. People either take a leave of absence. I think a lot of people just say, yeah, I'm done. I quit. Yeah, I'll pick up something on the other side of it when I get done with it. But it's hard. Myself, for those of you who don't know, I had a job working in oil and gas, and I told my bosses, I said, look, I can't tell you. I can't tell you what I'm doing, but I need to take a little bit of sabbatical to do something outside of oil and gas. It's not working for a competition or anything like that, but I need to take off anywhere from, I don't know, a week to 3.5 months. And of course, my boss was like, really? And you're not going to tell us what it is? No, I can't do it, guys. I'm just not legally allowed to do so. They eventually figured it out. Certainly when I went on the show and they saw my face up on the screen, they knew. But originally mine was a leave of absence. But once all my sick days and vacation days and holiday pay and everything else ran out and I was still inside the house, at that point they said, all right, well, you can reapply when you come out of the house, but for now, your job's going away, which I get it. I knew that was the risk when I went in there. Some of you may not know, I was counting down the days. I knew that if I was in that house past about day 32, that my job wouldn't be waiting for me when I got out, because that's when all my vacation and sick days and everything ran out. So on day number 30, when I got booted out of the house and then won the battle back and came back in, I knew that if I didn't win the battle back and just went home as a pre-juror, that I'd go back to work and all of that. I would just sneak it in. But by winning that battle back and then winning HOH, and so I knew I was going to be in the house at least another 2 weeks. At that point, I said, all right, well, I stepped over the ledge at this point. The job's gone, so I better do a hell of a job the rest of the way through. And I mentioned that to all the other house guests when I was in the house. I said, guys, you may not realize it, but because I won tonight, I just lost my job in the real world. But you know what? Life's an adventure. Sometimes you don't take the easy route. You take the adventurous route, and things hopefully work out in the end. It's worked out fine. I'm working again, so it was fine. But yeah, that's a long answer. The short answer is it depends on what your job is. There's a lot of people who can't afford to take off for 3.5 months. It's tough. Big Brother is such a long time to play a game as compared to Survivor. I think most people, if you went to your boss and said, look, I need the next 3 or 4 weeks off, you get a little more latitude with that, which is why I think Big Brother's prize needs to go up to $1 million, just like Survivor. But that's just me. I would have loved to win $500 million, but I would have loved to win $1 million even more. Don't you think? JP saying, singing in the rain is easy. Try dancing on the ceiling. Yeah. For me, try dancing at all. The floor, the ceiling, the walls in between. For the guy with 2 left feet, the only thing that saves my dancing is the fact that while I do have 2 left feet, I also am not easily embarrassed anymore. So you know what? I still got me some disco moves going on, and I can dance. Yeah, hey, Elaine from Seinfeld, she's got her dance moves. Old Boss Hogg, he's got a few of his own. I did okay. My kids got married. I danced at my son's wedding. I danced at my daughter's wedding. I did a father-daughter dance with my daughter at her wedding, and no one threw me out of the reception. They all felt like it was good enough for me to be allowed to keep on dancing. I did have my wife tell me, you aren't posting anything from Instagram. So when she saw me doing a selfie of me dancing, holding the camera out to the side, she said, no, you're not posting Instagram selfies of you dancing. There's no way in the world. So probably a good decision. So we did. Yeah, my kids, they were just glad I wasn't twerking out on the dance floor during either one of the weddings. That may have gotten me thrown out. I probably would have. If they hadn't thrown me out, my wife probably would have had a few choice words to say. So yeah, dancing on the ceiling. That's funny. You say Dancing on the Ceiling, JP, and all I can think of is Lionel Richie. Even though it's Gene Kelly, doing the rotating on. Yeah, I still think of Lionel Richie. I guess I'm a child of the '80s because of that, right? All right, what else do we have going on? Barry saying, is Beyond the Edge part of the challenge? No, Beyond the Edge, that's that show after Survivor, right? I think that's what you're talking about. That is for lack of a better word, celebrity Survivor. There used to be a show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And I felt like it was kind of that was the original celebrity version of Survivor. And I feel like this one's kind of its own version of it as well. They did have Meta World Peace, who was on Celebrity Big Brother a few years back. So we got a little carryover from Big Brother and all. But no, it's just kind of a Survivor version of a celebrity game. I watched the first episode of it. Not so. It didn't hold my attention. All right, there's a little too much of celebrities talking about, oh, this is miserable, I want to go home, and then some other celebrity coming over and say, no, we got to be strong, this is what life's all about, kumbaya moments and all that. Not that isn't all valid, but I want to see the backstabbing. I want to see the struggle. I want to see people trying to get through the water that can barely make it. I want to see all the stuff that we see on Survivor and Big Brother, and I didn't see as much of that on Beyond the Edge. So gotta say, that's the reality show that I'm not really watching as much of as I used to. But it may have gotten better. For those of you who are watching, give me your thoughts. And because I watched first episode, but that's it. Now, talking about reality TV shows that may or may not be worth watching, or may or may not be of interest. I watched a new reality show last week. Was on Thursday, March 31st. I think it was Thursday. I watched a new reality show that I've never seen before. I know y'all are familiar with it. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen it. X on the Beach. And I know it started in the UK, didn't it? And I think it came over here, or maybe it's the other way around. But I know it's had a lot of seasons between the two countries. Do they have X on the Beach in Canada? I don't know that they do. Beaches may be a little cold up there, right? But X on the Beach. And I'm watching it strictly because my friend Kat Dunn is on there. She told me she's going on. It seems like forever ago that she said she's going on that show. And then I kind of forgot about it. Now she's on there. So I watched that show on Thursday night. And I got to say, I was a little bit disappointed that I watched an hour or so of that show and Kat never showed up. Not that she's not on it, but apparently it's a little bit like a Paradise Island, where a lot of people show up at the beginning, but then eventually other people come along and all that. And apparently Kat just hasn't made her appearance yet. So I watched an hour of it. Now there was Jamar was on there, and Davon was on there. So we have some other Big Brother people. Min Lee from Big Brother Canada is going to be on as well. I think she may have just shown up. So there's some other people I'm really interested in watching. But I got to say, I'm all about reality TV, and I've watched some pretty trashy reality TV over the years. But I may be willing to say that X on the Beach is about as Jerry Springerish as they come. There's a lot of yelling, a whole lot of people getting very upset at each other, and a whole lot of the producers going out of their way to get these people in each other's faces. And I'll probably keep, just because it's trashy doesn't mean I may not keep on watching it. I probably will. I told Kat I will. So I'm going to watch it just to critique her performance and all that. But that was interesting. So that's my new reality TV show that I just picked up this week. And well, I'll keep you informed on how it goes throughout the next few weeks. Chris is saying, do you think Big Brother will end when Julie retires? Now, that is a good thought. And then Lawrence saying, who would take her place? Drew Carey? Drew's pretty busy with The Price is Right? I don't know. Who would take her place if she left? There's a part of me says there could be some former players that would be kind of interesting. I don't know, Rachel Riley or someone. I can think of people that would be fun to watch maybe as a new host. Beyond that, I can't picture any. Trying to think of some. So I don't know. Tom Green. Get Tom Green in there as a new host of Big Brother if Julie ever leaves, because I have a feeling he would just rake people over the coals and give people a hard time and all that. I don't know. Would it end? I don't know. I hope not. I kind of doubt it, because here's the thing. Yeah, maybe ratings are a little bit low at a time here or there, but I got to think, it's not like they're paying those of us who were in that house. They're not paying us Tom Cruise money. They're not paying us even D-list celebrity money. They're it's got to be fairly cheap to produce, even though there's so many cameramen and people around 24 hours a day filming and doing all that. It's still got to be cheaper than paying 7 people $1 million each to be on Friends, as in the sitcom type show. So, and it's during the summer too. And during the summer, no one expects to have huge blockbusters necessarily taking place. So I have a feeling that even if ratings are a little down, even if Julie's talking about leaving at some point in the future, they're still pulling in a little. I'm not feeling too sorry for CBS and Endemol Productions, everyone involved with Big Brother. I think they're doing okay. I think it'll last as long as, I don't know, until something else comes along that just gets everyone's attention. And what's that going to be? I don't know, the Tiger King reality show. You can go in and go into the tiger cage and last person out, who tames the tiger wins or something. I don't know, but somewhere down the road, eventually, all these reality shows will get replaced by some kind of other genre. I don't know. I think the next step may be we'll see these reality shows go off regular TV. They'll go strictly into the metaverse. How cool would that be if you get picked? I don't know, somehow you get a bunch of people picked and you just show up in the metaverse and you play the game out there as well. And maybe instead of one game of Big Brother, there's 100 games of Big Brother all going on at once. And the winner of each advances up to tournament levels. And I don't know, suddenly instead of 16 people every year playing, you've got several thousand playing, and more people get the chance to experience it, get the chance to backstab and betray and everything else. I don't know. I'm trying to think ahead. I'm trying to think 50 years from now, we're going to be saying, they did that reality show. It was just on that flat screen TV. There weren't holograms. You couldn't participate. You couldn't do anything. We're going to be shocked. We're going to be saying, oh, that was so archaic back then. But we got a few years before that changes, right? Maybe not as many as we think. I keep hearing about this metaverse and everything, but we'll see. Misfire, who do you want to win Big Brother Canada? Is Marty the Big Brother version of Cliff? Well, I mentioned that earlier, that I see in Marty and Kevin and Herman. I see a little of me in all of them. With Marty, there's a little bit of Marty in there. I mean, he's the oldest guy in the house. He's having to deal with that a little bit. I'd like to think that I'm not quite as, I don't know, emotional about some things. I mean, he's had a couple of things where he just blew up. He got upset at people that he felt were trying to play him, and he's kind of blown up at some people and things like that. I didn't really do that. Even when I knew I was getting betrayed by people, I was still trying to look forward versus backwards and trying to keep the emotions in check as much as possible. So from that standpoint, I think maybe Marty and I are a little bit different. But I don't know. In some ways, too, I feel like Marty's trying to fit in as best he can. He's trying to go with the flow. Sometimes that causes issues with him. Sometimes it helps him out a little bit. And I don't want to go into too many details about this evening and everything that happened, but there was certainly some drama that took place between Thursday and right after Thursday and now the episode we saw tonight. So, and Marty's involved in a lot of Marty. Here's one thing that I feel like there's some similarity between Marty and myself. I went into the house saying, I'm going to lay low. I mean, I know as the older guy, I'm going to be the target, but as much as possible, I want to lay low. I want to be a loyal soldier. I don't want to get a lot of attention on me. I just want to be quiet and let other people fight it out. And then I'll jump in and grab people once I've established some social connections and everything. And I feel like there's some ways that Marty maybe felt the same way, that he didn't necessarily want to be the leader, that he wanted to go in and let other people do all the work and he would just go along and all that. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. It didn't work out for me, and it's not worked out for Marty either. Sometimes you have to kind of step in and make some decisions and take some heat that you didn't plan on, and we'll see how it works out for him. Cindy Hire, what network is X on the Beach? I believe it's just a straight up old MTV. Pretty sure. There's 2 or 3 MTV channels, it seems like now, that I can have access to, but I think it's just straight up MTV. Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. I think, Cindy, but double check your guide to see for certain. Chris Lair thought Haley Broker would be a good host. Maybe. I I almost think Haley's a little too quiet and not willing to challenge people. I want someone in there who's willing to not push buttons, but I don't. If we ever replace Julia, I want someone who's going to not be afraid to call out people a little bit and say, "What were you thinking? What was going on with that?" And some things like that. I'm not sure if Haley would do that or not. Haley's probably a little busy. I know she was going off. It's so cool. I met Haley right before, when I went to try out for Big Brother. She was there, and we got to talk a little bit and compare Aggie rings and things that most people didn't do with her. But she's up north going to grad school, so she's got a lot of things on her plate. I have a feeling she'd probably say yes if anyone contacted her, but I doubt it's going to be Haley at the end of this thing. But they'd be all right. But yeah, I think there's a few other people they'd probably be looking at before Haley, and she'd probably be okay with that as well. All right, let's see what else we got on here. Good prank is taking all the labels off of someone's canned food. Well, Michelle, yeah, I guess I could see that. That's the kind of thing I would have done, and my mom would have gotten mad at me, and I would have, I would have laughed a lot more than she would have laughed at, I'm sure. Lawrence Santiago, is it unfair advantage that Marty and Gino are allowed to speak French? Isn't that something? Because in the Big Brother house for U.S., we weren't allowed to speak any foreign languages at all. Not like I'm going to sit there and be speaking, anything else. I speak a little Spanish. Theoretically, I guess I could have talked to Jessica enough in front of others and said a few words, and no one else would have caught it and all of that. But yeah, we weren't allowed to speak any language other than English. We also were not allowed to mouth words. You could whisper, but you weren't allowed to mouth anything. You also weren't allowed to use sign language, if you know sign language. It had to be in English to help the viewers and everything else. Canada is a little bit different because they've got dual languages up there, and the Quebecers get all upset if you don't consider French right up there with English. So because of that, I understand why they can't say you got to speak in English versus French. There's just no way. Dual lingual country and all that. I don't think that would ever happen. And those of you who are Canadian, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think they always will be allowed to speak French in there. Is it an unfair advantage? Yeah, probably. But I also feel like there's a lot of people I'm in Texas. If you take a second language, for the most part, you take Spanish because that comes in handy when you live in Texas. If you live up in Canada, speaking French may not be a bad thing. So even though a lot of people don't necessarily speak it fluently, I would think just the fact that they may speak it or may not would keep Gino and Marty from being able to talk about anything deep secrets. Because if I'm up there, if I'm playing Big Brother Canada and I speak a little French, I'm probably not telling the folks who are fluent in it. I'm going to act like I'm just, I never stay. I'm just English only. Because you never know what you're going to pick up on. So, but I think there's enough people who speak it. They probably can't be too open or talk about too many secrets when they talk French. Now, it does create a bond between the two of them, right? Speaking French is your first language and all that. It's got to tie them closer together. But is it any different than people who are tied together in Big Brother US because, or Canada, because of the province or the state they're from, because their age, because they're both parents? There's so many things. So I don't know. It's unfair, maybe, but I don't think there's worth changing anything for. It's kind of cool. Why? I mean, you always have to read the subtitles because obviously I don't speak French, but I don't know, it's kind of fun watching them do their own little thing with that and how quickly they can go in and out of French versus English and vice versa and all that. Ma saying, do you watch American Idol? Not so much. We used to all the time. William Hung and Jason Castro, and I mean there were so many fun people to watch, and Carrie Underwood. We watched American Idol religiously since it moved over to ABC. I don't even know where it moved to, but since it moved away from Fox, I really haven't kept up with it that much. Well, what we watch instead is The Voice. We watch a lot of The Voice. That's pretty much a must see watching that show. Like all the judges on The Voice, and not that I don't like the judges on American Idol. It's just I like Blake Shelton, and I've liked all the judges on The Voice, so we watch that a lot. I love the singing competitions type shows. the type of show I would never be able to go on, but it's fun watching people that you've never even heard of that just got there. Do y'all remember? I think it was actually like uh, Britain's Got Talent or UK's Got Talent. It wasn't even over here, but remember that lady, Susan Boyle? She came out and she did not look like she was, she looked like someone that they were going to kind of make fun of and that her voice would be horrible on. She got out there and she sang a song from, I think, Dream a Dream from Les Mis and all that. Phenomenal. I remember Simon Cowell was on there. His mouth just dropped, and Piers Morgan was on there. Just incredible. I love those moments in reality TV where someone absolutely shocks the viewing audience, the judges, everyone, and something like that happens. So yeah, I don't watch Idol the way I used to. Used to a lot, but not so much. Who I said Patsy Jason. Well, we all know David wasn't too good at games. Yeah, it's you talking about David Alexander? I say David had a learning, certainly had a learning curve when he came onto the show. It was funny because during our season of Big Brother, there were some people who were recruits, and there were some people who I suspected that were recruits that wouldn't tell us for certain. David pretty much came out and said, "Yeah, no, I've never watched a show ever, Big Brother. I don't have a clue. I just someone approached me, said I got to try out, and David got on. David was one of the last people cast on our season. I think he went to the final tryouts and everything right towards the end. So David was a recruit. I think Kimmy was a recruit. Kat kept saying that she was a fan of the show. Well, she wasn't a fan. She was a recruit as well. And I think Holly had not watched much either. And there may be one or two others. I think Bella maybe hadn't watched a lot of it. So we had some recruits during our season, and then we had some just really passionate super fans. But yeah, that certainly hurt David a little bit. I think he was okay at reading the crowd and figuring out some of what was going on. But that doesn't necessarily convey into social strategy and gameplay and things like that. I remember at one point, during my season, I always woke up early and had my coffee and sat in the boat room. And at one point, David came in and said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he started prodding me for some information. And I was a little bit nervous about giving him the information because I wasn't sure he had just come back in the house, and Ovi had gone out the door, and we really thought Ovi and David would be competing against each other and whoever the next two people were to see who came in the house. And so David's wanting me to give him all this information about who I think is aligned with who and who's working together. And he was correct on everything that he was assuming. But all I could think was, I'm not going to confirm anything because I am scared to death that anything I tell you, you're going to go over there and tell them just to throw me under the bus to get me booted and all that. It was tough. There was definitely a learning curve for David, and I was so glad. I was so happy he got his second chance with the All-Stars. He got to play a long period of time in there. And now he's down in freaking Argentina playing against all the challenge folks or new challenge folks and getting his third shot at reality TV. He's a great guy. I'm happy for him. But yeah, we'll see how much he knows of the challenge and how he plays that game as opposed to Big Brother. A little more drama involved in the challenge, a little more social, a little less, well, I was going to say less competition. Just the opposite, really. A lot more competition, a lot harder competition, physical competition. Patsy's saying, Jeff, Cody, Paul, Derek, Tyler, and Dan for host. I could see that with any of them. Yeah, I could see all of those. Dan Giesling does all his Twitch and podcasts and all that, so he's got a lot of public speaking going on. Derek's the same way. Tyler, you don't hear as much from him, so I don't know. Yeah, I'd be gung-ho for any of them. And Rachel Riley and Janelle for the ladies. Rachel Riley, Janelle, Brittany Haynes, ladies first. All right. Do you know, I would watch, and Jake said, sorry, Jake, I didn't want to not give you credit for that. Jake, the Horror Movie Geeks, mentioned those names. I left out Brittany. Brittany is one of my all-time favorites. I loved her diary room sessions. I would watch Big Brother just to watch Brittany Haynes host it, just to watch her little snappy, snide remarks from outside the house talking about some of the decisions these house guests were making. She was, I don't know if it was always intentional or not, but Brittany's just always made me laugh during her seasons. except when she found out that everyone else left in the house was at the brigade, I guess, that she wasn't part of it and she's going home. That was depressing. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for the fourth place people every season on Big Brother. But yeah, I hated to see Brittany that one time where she figured out she'd been betrayed, or she was told she'd been betrayed. But for the most part, her diary room sessions, her mimicking, just going crazy, listening to people on it, I get it, and I absolutely relate to her. But she's got a couple of kids and all that, so I'm not sure if she's ready to go back into reality Big Brother world either. But she'd be fun. I'd watch it. I guarantee I'd be watching it. Ms. Fire, Arissa Cox to host Big Brother US. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I'm not sure she wants to come down and do this version as well. Hey, what if we just had one season? Canada, we'll give you Julie, bring Arissa down here, and we'll just shake it up a little bit. What a shock to the contestants that would be when they showed up and there was a host that they weren't expecting. For all kinds of reasons, I'm sure that'll never happen. It'd be fun to think about and fun to watch, though, right? All right, let's see. What else do we have? 7:48. Goes so fast, man. That's so much stuff I had lined up. I haven't even had a chance to talk about, but that's okay. I told you I was kind of open-ended, so we could talk about whatever we did. We even talked about Survivor. Survivor, I'm still enjoying this season. I don't want to give too much away, but the person evicted on Thursday, I think they played a little too hard. They overplayed the game. I feel like if they just laid low, not done anything too exotic, they could have easily been a top 3 in their tribe, survived until emerge when a whole new game starts to be played. But instead, they just had to get try to do just a little too much, a little too early. And I know I was worried about that while I was in the Big Brother house. I knew, and it's easy to say, oh, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You say that, but you don't really think about it, especially when you're in there. And the days just go on and on and on. But I remember when I was HOH thinking, all right, it's day 30. If I'm going to win this thing, I still have another 2 months left in the house. So we're not even a third of the way in here. So do I really want to make big moves that, yeah, they may help me at the very end in terms of resume and all of that, but it could put a huge target on my back right now. And I went back and forth on that when it came time to nominate who I wanted on the block. And of course, I took the chance. Having said all, I still put up Mickey and Jack, but when I realized there was that Diamond Power veto out there, and then Mickey won the POV, damn Mickey. If he hadn't won that, we could have done all kinds of different things. But anyway, there was a time where I had to retreat, where I had to say, I got 2 months I got to live with these folks. I better start doing some damage control right now. And I think the person who went home on Thursday kind of guilty of not taking the safe route when that was probably the better thing to do. Instead, took some chances and didn't pay off. But I'm loving that. And Miss Fire saying Jonathan is a comp beast. Yes, I say that every week, and I will say it one more week. That guy is phenomenal. He is. There's nothing he can't do when it comes to water and carrying stuff and all that. And he seems like a nice guy, which, have the physical threat and someone, a nice person and all that. I kind of like it. I hope he does well. I hope he doesn't get sitting home as soon as the tribes merge, just because he is seen as such a big physical threat. Because I hate to see him penalized for that, but something you got to keep in mind when you've got that kind of capability. But yeah, I've enjoyed watching Jonathan, and I spent a lot of time, as I may have mentioned once or twice, I am doing the Survivor recaps. So if you aren't watching that, I go into a lot more detail about Jonathan, about Survivor, about who went home and all that. So check that out if you get a chance. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Survivor so far this season. It's been every year, every twice a year, they tweak it just enough to keep it fresh and exciting and interesting. So I'm loving all of that. What else do we have going on? All right. Well, 7:51. We'll shut it down in just a second. I didn't hear that much in the way of good April Fool's jokes. I had one I was going to tell y'all, and it completely slips on. That happens sometimes. But what else do we have going on? All right. I'll tell y'all. Let's see. Hold on. Let me check on here. Chin, Probst, or Keegan? Discuss. Yeah, I'll leave that to y'all. I don't want to make any of those people mad, but I like all three of them. I truly do. My three favorite reality TV shows. And I didn't realize until I watched some other reality TV shows how much the host makes a difference. And for those three shows, and I'll throw in the mole from a few years back with Anderson Cooper on there. I love that show as well, but I wish they'd bring that back. I'd be okay with that. While I'm thinking of it, I'll mention, I may have, I don't know if I ever talked about it before. One of my all-time favorite reality TV shows of all time, two of them. Maybe we'll finish off with these two. Two of my favorite reality TV shows that are no longer with us, and I wish they'd bring them back. One is Solitaire. Do any of y'all remember Solitaire? I think it was on True TV, or I don't even know what network it is. I think the network went away, and so did the show. But Solitaire, you take 10 people, 12 people, you lock them in a room about, I don't know, the size of a very small bedroom, more like a closet. They call them pods, I think. And you lock them in just a very small area. And I don't even know what the timing was. Once a day, once every couple of days. You got nothing to do except just sit in there and stare at the walls, literally stare at the walls. There's a little voice called Sal, who comes on and says, hello, contestants or whatever, and talks to them. But they have to do challenges. It'd be something like, you're going to have to swing this hula hoop around on your arm. And whoever does it the shortest amount of time before stopping goes home. All right, well, you say, okay, well, I can probably spin a hula hoop on my arm for 3-4 hours if I have to. But the problem is no one on that show knew when anyone else had quit. So you may be spinning that hula hoop on your arm for 12 hours, and still there's a possibility that no one's quit yet. And if you stop, that you go home. So it forces you to, every single episode, every single challenge, it forces you to absolutely go to your absolute limits of what you're capable of. And I say swinging a hula hoop on your arm. It was things like going up and over a big heavy boat rope, or drinking weird kinds of ingredients, or just running around the pod, touching buttons on different sides as many times as possible. And they did that until finally there's only one person left. And it was just pure mental torture for these people. I don't know why I enjoyed it, but it was very interesting watching these people push to their absolute limits. So that was one of my shows. If there's any reality show they could bring back Solitaire. Oh, I would find it on any channel, anywhere, and watch it. Pay-per-view, yeah, I'd pay for it. I'd watch it however you could set it up. So that'd be a lot of fun. Miss Fire saying The Mole. Yeah, the Mole was great, where one person was the mole. One person was kind of the saboteur who messed up everyone else while they were trying to achieve challenges. And so, yeah, that was fun. That was the Anderson Cooper one. I may have thrown out the wrong name earlier, but yeah, I love that one. And then the other reality show that I really liked, and it kind of was a reality show, but it kind of wasn't, was the Joe Schmo Show. Anyone ever even heard of the Joe Schmo Show? It was the idea of a reality show like Big Brother, except everyone in the house were actors and actresses, except for one person, Joe Schmo. This one guy, I think his name was Matthew something or other. I don't even remember, but he would go in there and didn't realize that he was around all these scripted actors that were trying to set up scenarios. But they did it. They took all the stuff you see in other reality shows, people yelling at each other or accusing people, or people who are socially awkward, all the weird stuff that you see in a regular reality show. And they just ramped it up to an uber level on this show and watched this guy's reaction. And they'd have competitions that were intentionally set up for him to win or him to lose. And so he got to see these people just making outrageous suggestions about who should go home and plans and all that. And so it was fun watching this guy respond. It's like Big Brother, but then it was just incredibly more abstract what was happening. And watching this guy sitting around saying, are these people for real? Why in the world am I in a madhouse? What is going on here? It was a fantastic show. It's hard to find. To this day, I haven't found it online on any of the streaming systems, anything. And I'd love to watch it. And Michelle Moore saying, how about Love Connection? Well, a little story for you, Michelle. Just talking about Love Connection and Alex Woolery. That's his name, right? I actually just might have sat in on a studio audience and watched the taping of the Love Connection back in 1993, I believe. I was working. I had to go out to California to do some training. It was right when the Northridge earthquake hit, because I was there during all the aftershocks and all of that. It's like, this guy from Texas, I'm not used to all these earthquakes everywhere. Half the town was shut down because of it, but they still taped Love Connection. And so I did two things. I went and saw a taping of the sitcom Coach, which was a lot of fun. And then I watched a taping of Love Connection. I stood in line. I got in the studio audience, and I got to watch Chuck Woolery. I think I may have said Alex. I got to watch Chuck Woolery up on stage with the people dating and all of that. And what was incredible, during the taping I saw, there wasn't a single love connection made. They all hated each other. The 2 or 3 people segments I had, every single one of them hated the other people. And when we got done, Chuck Woolery came out and said, all right, well, folks, this is the first time since we've been doing the show where there were 0 love connections made. Normally we get at least one. Nothing tonight. So y'all are part of history. So yeah, I saw that, and I talked to Chuck Woolery for just a second also. Who would have thought? I watched that, and then just a few years later, I'm on my own sound stage and doing my own thing on reality TV. But yeah, I'd be okay with. Oh, when you want to talk about some trashy reality shows, Love Connection, Baggage. Do y'all remember Baggage? With who was that? Was that Jerry? That was Jerry Springer, right? That hosted Baggage. We watched that. You can still find Baggage if you're up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It seems like that or Impractical Jokers are always on TV somewhere, and I watch both of them. So there you go, guys. All right. And Night Stalker Richard Ramirez was on the dating game. Lawrence Santiago says, well, that's kind of scary, right? That's you know who else was on the dating game? I've got an uncle who was on the dating game. I'll tell that story somewhere later. And no, it's not the Night Stalker. Different people. Don't confuse the two of them. But I've got an uncle who was on the dating game. Tom Selleck was on the dating game. And apparently a horrific serial killer was on the dating game as well. So if you want to go on a dating show, it's a little bit of a whole lot of this or a whole lot of that, and you better be real careful which one you get. That's pretty scary. I think I'd heard that before, but that doesn't make me feel any better. I can't say I'm surprised either. A lot of interesting people in reality TV. All right, guys. I feel like I'm ending the show on a real down note, talking about the Night Stalker. So yeah, Miss Fire saying Craig T. Nelson coach. We'll finish it off with Craig T. Nelson as a coach, and Dauber and Jerry Van Dyke. Oh, Jerry Van Dyke was hilarious. A lot of fun. And Eliminate. Yeah, there's a lot of fun TV reality shows out there. We need to do an episode on Cliff Notes Live where we just talk about the most oddball reality shows from the past, which ones we loved, which ones we hope never comes back, such as Kid Nation for CBS. We'll talk about that one of these weekends. All right, guys, I'm going to shut it down right now because it is 8 o'clock. I got to go eat some dinner. But guys, y'all have a great one. Again, Survivor on Wednesday night. I'll be doing a recap. So if you aren't watching that, check it out. Subscribe to my channel if you get a chance. I always appreciate that. Always appreciate a thumbs up on the likes if you get a chance as well. Leave me your comments. Any ideas y'all got for what y'all want to talk about in future shows, whether you're watching live or if you're watching it on replay. Put some comments on the YouTube channel. Let me know what y'all want to talk about next week, and I'll build that into the show. I'm happy to do so. Guys, y'all have a fantastic first full week of April. Congratulations on surviving all the April Fool's jokes. And I will be back next Monday to talk about more Big Brother Canada, Survivor, whatever else y'all want to talk about. But until then, guys, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Y'all have a great one.